This episode of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast is brought to you by our good friend Jim Saxon at Jim Saxon State Farm Insurance Agency. For all of your insurance needs, log on to saxoninsurance.com or stop by and give them a visit. They're right across the street from the iconic and legendary Matt's El Rancho on South Lamar in Austin.
Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet I say you not a bed.
That's it.
But Jordan Hamilton is a tough matchup. He's got to get ready right now. They're playing him physically. He better get ready for physicality to TBT. Oh, my.
What a pass from Chandre Jones to Cameron Ridley.
From the not-too-distant past from men's Texas basketball history. I mean, these are guys that I actually covered back in my former media days. And this guy right here, Vincent Hu, product of the Alamo City, San Antonio, Texas. If you don't know him, you need to. Number one, because he has a great sense of humor. He's smart. He juggles many tasks. And he's the guy that has really put this team called TBT together. But first off, Vincent Hu, how would you describe the effort you and I have put in to make this episode of Stories Inside the Man Cave happen?
I would say it's just a big game of phone tag back and forth. The right availabilities, juggling work and kids and scheduling. So it was bound to happen, and I'm glad it's happening before the holidays.
Yes, and that's a big time of year because, a lot of people, including ourselves, during the holidays, we become really generous with our time, our money, and just generous with a lot of things. And I hope that by the end of this episode that whoever may be watching will jump on board to help TBT. And before we move on with this, I want to tell everybody, whether you're watching this on our YouTube channel, on the Twitter page, Facebook, whatnot, especially on YouTube, click like and subscribe, and then like and follow each of our social media platforms. And we really appreciate that, because if it's not for you doing that and returning and really liking and sharing the content, we wouldn't be doing this anymore. So before we get to TBT, let's get to know Vincent a little bit. Your hook 'em basketball story as a student at UT. You graduated from UT, oh my God, 10 years ago. I mean, it doesn't even feel that long ago, does it?
It's sure flown by pretty quickly. I worked 3 years for Coach Barnes for the men's basketball team. First year was great. We had Jordan Hamilton, Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson, some of my really good friends, and we had a really, really good team. And then they all took off to the NBA. And then the next 2 years were kind of rebuilding years. And so that's when you kind of learn how good you have it with having so many five-star kids and so many lettermen that are experienced. And so when we had younger teams, my second and third year, we kind of went through struggles. Mm-hmm. Beauty of building a program is you have your ups and downs, but as long as you believe and buy in, then at the end of the day, you just play your hardest and see what happens.
Yeah, and this is a picture with you with Rick Barnes, who's now at University of Tennessee, adored, highly successful basketball coach who really, after Tom Penders, really elevated the program, took him to a Final Four. And when was this taken? This was back in the old Irwin Center, of course.
This was actually taken when Tennessee came back to play Texas, I want to say 2 seasons ago.
Wow.
Last year of the Irwin Center. So it was really special. It was during shoot around. Coach invited us over, got to watch the Volunteers get ready for the game against Texas, which Texas won. Super emotional, a lot of former players that came back in town, and just really neat having relationships with staff members on both Texas and Tennessee because of Coach Barnes. His coaching tree is really, really, really impressive. And he's got strength guys and equipment guys and assistant coaches and GAs all over. So much respect to Coach Barnes. He's like a big brother to me, and I can't wait to see them when they play in San Antonio next month.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, he is a guy that has created quite a network. And from what can you tell, I guess, can you confirm or deny this? This Coach Barnes is one who doesn't forget a face, doesn't forget a name, much like Mac Brown was as the head coach of the football program.
Coach Barnes is definitely a people person. He's really genuine. He cares about you, not just on the court, but off the court. And he doesn't forget about you. If you work for him for a year or 3 years or 10 years, you have a special place in his heart. And so coaches always show love for everybody, and he's been coaching for decades. That's why he's one of the greatest.
And you, student manager, all 4 years during your time at Texas?
Back then, Rob Lazar, the equipment manager, didn't hire. So I did it my sophomore, my junior, and my senior year at Texas.
No, that's great on your resume, by the way. And it does help. And, you know, one thing about Vincent, we highly recommend whenever you're in the San Antonio area, you need to stop by a certain restaurant that I want him to talk about, because I have yet to visit yet, and I plan on it because of the type of food that you serve. And now I also want to do it because to support you and your family. I mean, where is it located? And if you notice there on the left side, Royale Ivey looks like Vince Young, and I can't tell who's in the back there that came by to visit you. It looks like at the restaurant.
Well, and on the picture on the left, I think that's Ira Clark and Mo Isom, a bunch of Texas basketball guys. It was the weekend of the UTSA UT game last year, so that was great running into the guys. And on the right, Coach Terry had a coaching clinic in San Antonio a couple months ago, and so he hit me up, and we went to the restaurant, and he had a really good meal. I think he had the lamb chop, so I think we're going to get more and more Longhorns into the restaurant.
So it has your restaurant, and tell the folks about it, the name, where people may find it, and what makes it different from other Asian influenced restaurants, that why they would choose that in San Antonio.
Well, it's called Sushihana. It's been open for 20 years.
Wow.
It's a family restaurant that my dad and my uncle started, and I started as a busboy when I was in high school. But basically, after I graduated, I went back to the family business, and now I'm at Sushihana, and it's in Castle Hills in San Antonio, really close to the airport. And we just have some of the freshest, most exotic fish that you can't find anywhere else. Ooh. And a lot of the Spurs legends eat there, and now a lot of UT guys know about it. So we're just doing our best to uphold our standards and make sure we have the best service, the cleanest restaurant, and the best food. And that's all you can do. And then everything else will speak for itself.
It's a matter of time, Vince. It's a matter of time. I instead of saying I need to make time, I just need to make it happen, because we'll come back with a full food review and 5-star ratings on Google after I finish that. There is no doubt about that, because you won my business immediately. There is no doubt about it. Now, you mentioned it briefly, dating back to when Tom Penders was at Texas. You know, he signed the first McDonald's All-American, who happened to be the first McDonald's All-American of the program, and Kris Clack. And then you fast forward to Rick Barnes, the Barnes era, when you were there. And to this day, I'm blown away by the NBA actives roster alone, or people who are still playing basketball who played at UT.
We're definitely one of the top programs that create NBA players. I think it's just, it starts with the coaches recruiting good players from good families, and then teaching them how to work hard during the summer school sessions all the way until whenever they leave. And most of our guys are they're super talented, but they buy in and they realize if you work really hard for a couple of years, you might be able to set your family and create generational wealth and generational opportunities for years to come if you put in the work, because you have the talent that a lot of kids don't. And so just follow your dreams, come to Texas, work hard, and the sky's the limit, whether it's professionally, in sports, or networking. It's what happens here really does change the world.
That's pretty amazing. That's a powerful statement. I know it's a marketing slogan, but it does hold true. I mean, looking at these photos, I mean, they obviously respect you. You're highly respected by these guys. And, you know, I can't imagine – I can only imagine the jokes and the conversations had. I mean, obviously, you see on the left, KD. You know, we just talked about Clack. I saw him today. He was at part of a nonprofit event. And you go to the left to right, and is far right, is that Myck Kabongo?
No, so it's myself, and that's Will Wyatt. That's Justin Mason, of course, KD, Roy, Kris Clack, and then Avery Bradley.
Yeah, okay, there, man. I need to get my site checked. I really do. This is inexcusable, Vince. I need to do better.
No worries. A lot of athletes that have gone through our program, but definitely a special group of guys and a big brotherhood and a big family for sure.
Yeah, it is. And so when you talk about TBT, and I'm going to leave this picture up until we move to the next one, but TBT, it's been around for what, a decade? The actual, it's a tournament for, and the winner the winning team gets to split $1 million. Is that, what else am I missing?
That's correct. Funny story is we just had the 10th year tournament. So that was our first team. But 10 years ago, I was either DM'd or text messaged from this guy from the the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who's this? And he's like, hey, we're starting a basketball tournament. The winning team gets $1 million. Do you think you can field the Texas team? And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way, because everybody that I know that's in the league doesn't need the money and they're not eligible, because Ford, Royal, Ivey, DJ Augustine, Corey Joseph, Jordan Hamilton, Tristan Thompson, Miles Turner, all those guys were still in their primes. So there was no way. But now, fast forward 10 years later, I have a myriad of people to choose from, whether it's Coach Barnes era, Shaka Smart era, Chris Beard era, or even RT era. So we have a lot more guys to choose from to create a team that's talented enough to win. But before, I really didn't know that many people. But 10 years later, you have, freshman classes coming in all the time.
You look at this, I think this was last year, and the tournament was actually, if people are, you may have heard of it, TBT. Yeah, you saw it on ESPN, and it's backed by the major network, and that was in Lubbock at Texas Tech's United Supermarket, excuse me. But these are just a few of the photos, and you assemble this team. You're on the business side of it. I mean, there's more to this than just calling up some dudes and assembling a roster. I mean, you are literally handling every aspect of business, correct?
Yes, sir. It was to get the first team in. There's a lot of GM meetings and a lot of questions that needed to be asked and answered. You start kind of reaching out to guys to see if there's interest, but when you do, they're currently overseas and in the middle of things. So it's incredibly difficult to know exactly who you'll have commit, because things change day to day, week to week, month to month. And it's just constant checking in with them, making sure they're healthy, their mind is right. Some people want to take their summers off so that they can spend time with family since they're abroad all year. Some people have kids and they have to tend to that. And some of them just want to go hang out. So it's definitely, you have to stay on top of people and recruit people, and not until game one. So you can't give up.
Now, if we go around the photos, obviously Austin Zone, did you come up with that name for the team?
I didn't. TBT actually came up with a logo and the team name. I wanted it to be like the Texas Tacos or something with a taco mascot, but they went in a different direction. So I was like, it is what it is. But the logo is really sweet.
I like it.
I told them we need to work on that orange for the jerseys because right. But year one is always the struggle. So we're going to just keep building for year two and on.
Now, top left, your head coach, some people may recognize him or the name, correct?
Top left, that's Seth Greenberg.
Is that what?
I don't think he would want to be our head coach. Our head coach is actually Reggie Freeman, Texas legend. And on the right, Chris Voster. So they were doing the play-by-play for ESPN for TBT. So they went to one of our practices. But, man, I don't know if he would enjoy being our head coach. But Seth Greenberg and Chris Voster, shout out to them. They cover so many teams, and they do games back to back to back to back. It's incredible how professional and how good they are as a team, and making sure they get all the background stories and all the names correctly, and all the storylines, because it's incredible. We showed up the day before the game, and they had a really, really fluid broadcast.
Yeah, they did. And even looking back on that first piece of video that we saw, I mean, it was just like they were covering a March Madness game, something like that. And it's a good product. Now, of the team members that we see on the bottom portion, obviously Cam Ridley, far left, which of those guys are returning, and who in that picture do we see coming back this year?
Well, let me see here. So I know Jordan Hamilton says he's going to play if he's healthy. That's one of my brothers.
Yeah.
I know Young is interested, Cam Ridley, Lex Wong-Meni. And we had a couple guys that weren't Texas guys, but last minute I had to build a roster, and a lot of guys weren't available. So I asked teammates to ask their teammates. So I think half of our roster were Texas guys, but I would like to get some of the younger guys so that we can have a balance of young athletic guards and athletic bigs, because as you can tell, that team wasn't good enough to win, even though, a lot of them were just getting to know each other for a couple of days for training camp before we had to play. But like I said, we'll have a bigger Rolodex of players, and some people that want to play won't be available. But that's my job, is to make sure I put together a team that can compete and actually win all 6 games, because at the end of the day, we're wasting everybody's time and money and effort and energy if we don't put together a team that's going to work out.
But is it hard to, just think about this. I know it's temporary, but how long do these guys, when you say, hey, we want to recruit you to play for our TBD team, and how long are you selling them to be in Austin?
I'm just telling them, hey, if you're free from this block in July and you're healthy and you want to play for the Austin Zone team, the Texas Alumni team, just let me know, because we don't have that many slots and promise playing time. But if you want to have a chance at being on TV in front of NBA scouts and helping your career, maybe getting your agent some phone calls if you play really well, then just show up and play hard. And that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's not much to ask. You're getting exposure from national eyeballs, from a big-time network who does a great job with college basketball and basketball in general. And you mentioned it, a big one. NBA scouts. And I think it goes undervalued when I say what I'm about to, and you can add to it, of course, because you know more than I would. NBA scouts are not just scouting for the NBA. They're looking at potential guys to add to their G League system and potentially overseas. Am I off base on that?
No, you're correct. They're basically looking for winners that can show that they can play multiple games and affect the plus minus and affect winning. They're not looking for LeBron James, because they're getting those guys in drafts. They're looking for role players that can fill out the roster to build a culture and to make sure that they have enough bodies to make their franchise better. But some of these guys, they play really well for 2-3 games, and their agents do get a lot of phone calls because of it. And it helps them, because you're playing against pros and there's only one ball, but if you're a star in your role, they'll find a way to get you on their team if you're the right fit.
No, it makes sense. And, one thing, just like everything is, there's a cost to it. There's a significant cost to everything. And I know that, your role is huge. You're a big part to take on this role and the responsibility of it. But just like anything else, just like any corporate business, you need buy-in. You need sponsorship for anything. It's not charity. It's not a charitable project. Sponsors. How do you go about that? And is there a certain pitch? Because what I see right here in this graphic is you're selling opportunities on the uniforms. Was to say Stories Inside the Man Cave could put their logo on their shorts or jersey or any company for that matter.
That's right. So basically, it'll be a fun partnership or sponsorship with exposure. This year, there's opportunities to get your company logo on the jerseys, on the shorts, on the coaches' polos, and on the shooting shirts that the players wear during the warm-ups and on the bench. There's a lot of exposure. Usually, the regional will be – last year was in Lubbock. This year, I'm hearing it might be in Houston. So that's really good for a lot of big businesses or small businesses. If you want to support the team, we're willing to put you on the bench, maybe even give you locker room access and access on the team bus, team hotel, team meals, training camp. So if you're a big Texas fan and you want your logo on national TV and you want to have fun and be in the game and be on the bench, it's a great opportunity. And last year, all of our sponsors, we have, Sushihana sponsored some food. Thomas J. Henry was our major title sponsor. They were really happy, so it looks like they want to do it again. And we have our team logo, the TBT 10th year anniversary. And so there's a lot of opportunity. Let's have fun with it. No pressure, but it's really cool if you want to be around Longhorn legends. And since it might be in Houston this year, I can't promise anything, but you might be seeing TJ Ford and Vince Young on the bench with us.
Oh, that would not surprise me. And those two are very devoted, not only to, just the networking and the strong brotherhood of former UT athletes, but they are very, very, very devoted fans and to their roots in Houston, period.
Oh, they love H-Town. H-Town, in their eyes, is the best city in the world. And if I wasn't from San Antonio, I'd believe it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's been some Spurs Rockets conversation between you and those guys finding out, the debate, but we can say, I mean, you've got the win in that argument. No offense to TJ and Vince. The Rockets have that, 94, 95 back-to-back. That's all they have to base their argument on.
Right. I mean, that was quite some time ago, but I respect it. One of my good friends was actually his dad was on that team. Shout out Carl Herrera.
Oh, wow.
Played as well, but not too bad to say that you backed up Hakeem.
No. There's I'm not going to say never, but he's a lifetime type player in the history of basketball, without a doubt. So I'm going to remove this part right here just so everyone can get a good look at this. And we're also going to place this on social media. Let's just say I'm a potential sponsor client. What do you tell me? What is it that I need to do to jump on board?
Just give me a phone call or message our social media at Twitter or on Instagram, and we can hop on the phone, or I can send you some more information. But basically, we just come to an agreement. We get your company logo, and then we send it in, and then boom, they show up on the jerseys, on the shooting shirts, on the coach's polo. And then on game day or during training camp, we get together, you hang out with the team, you be part of the team, because without you, none of this is possible. So basically just reach out to me or tag us, let me know, and we'll get you onboarded, and let's have fun with it.
Yeah, fun, exposure, and, generating a return on investment for both sides. And that's what it's all about. What is a quick backstory, TBT? How did it all start?
So last year I was watching it and I was wondering, I was like, wow, like Kansas has a team, Missouri has a team, Ohio State has a team. I remember that interaction I had 10 years ago where I turned down an opportunity to field a team. So I was like, let me DM the top guys at TBT and let them know we're hungry and we're interested for 2023. So they got back with me. I hopped on a couple phone calls. I attended a bunch of GM meetings, and then I started hitting the ground running, sliding into DMs from former players and seeing coaching candidates. And then I contacted, it seems like every single company that was Austin related or UT owned or UT alumni owned. And I just reached out, like Tiff's Treats, Torchy's Tacos, Scott, Yeti, just trying to let them know that we had a vision and that we wanted to be a part of something special. But the good thing is now that we have proof in history of being part of it and how special it was, now I can show stuff like this, which is a custom Yeti bottle that they sent us, and the whole team loved it, and we actually drank water from it on the bench. So I think they got a lot of exposure out of it. Yeti loved it, the players loved it, and I think we're going to try to run it back again. But we're just having fun with it, but we also want to win.
Yeah, that's, competition. You don't want to just enter, because that's another, selling point for sponsors. The more you win, the more exposure they receive. And wow, $1 million purse. That's incredible. It really is. So search for our guy, Vincent Hu here, as really, he's doing a great thing here as far as trying to assemble it, get former Longhorns, just put together a good basketball team that's going to represent your business. And he may be from San Antonio, and he's loyal to San Antonio, but also tremendous love for the city of Austin and our businesses here. There's no doubt about that. Vince, I wanted to tell you, this is something that's been a fixture on Stories Inside the Man Cave, and we've had a lot of them. I mean, we're at episode 317, but Man Cave stories, usually those are comical stories. Is there any story that is as hilarious today as it was when it happened? And it can involve anything, maybe as your time as a student manager with UT basketball or life in general.
This is one that I think of all the time. It was my senior year working for the team. So as we all know, every 4 years we do the Maui Invitational.
Yeah. And
the host is Chaminade. And for some reason, they get to pick who they play in the first game. And they're like, we want Texas. And this was kind of during our rebuilding in 2013. And so we go to Maui for a week for work, of course. And our first game is Chaminade. And of course, everyone knows and thinks Texas is going to win, but that's not what happened. We thought we were going to win. So a group of the support staff, a lot of managers, prepaid for parasailing because we thought we were going to play in the PM game and not in the losers bracket for the AM game. So we lost our money because we thought we were going to go parasailing and just cruise on by Chaminade. But the next morning, you open the front door from the hotel room, and there's a massive newspaper that says Chaminade shocks Texas. And it's one of those.
Oh, no.
Look at your phone, and it's like, you lost to the D2's team, and what are you?
No.
And they kind of, ruined the trip. But, growing pains of a basketball program, when we had a ton of freshmen on that team, and shout out to Chaminade, they were hungrier and they wanted it more, but, that's why they play the game.
Yeah, but that's fun. But you did get to go see, that's on the Big Island, right? Oahu, is that correct?
I think it was on Maui, but
Maui. Oh, that's right, Maui. I'm sorry, Maui Classic.
We were just honored to be part of such a prestigious program that there's other blue bloods there. When I say other, I want us to be a basketball school eventually. Right now we're a football school, but you have to win a couple of national championships and do a little bit more before you can consider yourself a school like Kentucky or Duke or UConn. So that's what TBT is for, is to make it more of a basketball school. So I'll do my part.
You're doing your part right now. That's awesome, man. And just search for everybody. Go to search for TBT. There is a website, and Vincent Hu's very active on social media, Instagram, and check for Austin's Own and link up with Vincent Hu. And if you're watching this on whatever platform, if you need me to facilitate communication, just DM me on either our Instagram page or my personal or on Twitter/X, and I'll make the connection for you. Vince, we're going to take a quick break, but on the other side, I want to get you some of your predictions, have a little fun with things. And before that, we're going to hear from one of our big-time sponsors. That's Hargrove Roofing. And you may remember there's a former Longhorn who is acting in this for Hargrove Roofing. We'll see you on the other side.
Let's see it.
Here at Hargrove Roofing, we try to think outside the box to kind of get the creative juices flowing. So I brought in my friend Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns. He's going to help the team strategize, really motivate them, light a fire.
This guy's going to block down. This guy's going to block down. You put your butt into the guard, and that way my Mike linebacker gets free to do what?
Not only are they going to learn a thing or two, but they're going to also leave with a great attitude and a bunch of smiles on their faces.
I'm sorry, what does this have to do with roofing exactly?
Get out.
Right now.
I said get out.
For me, that's what it's all about. It's just having fun, making our employees have a great time. Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
Well, I think they clearly know what we wanted to be right now. We want to be a team that tries to sit down and guard, and one that takes a lot of pride in sitting down and trying to put consecutive stops together. Transition, getting back, getting our defense set so we can do that, taking care of the basketball. We don't beat ourselves.
You heard Rodney Terry. They opened the season, I believe, as we're recording this episode. So a lot of new faces, and some aren't healthy to play right now. What's your read on this team? Because I, like so many, I really, really appreciate Rodney Terry as not only a human being, but as a coach.
Yeah, shout out RT. He's great. I think they're going to be really athletic. They're going to play really fast. They're going to get up and down the court. They're going to defend well. They're going to talk on defense. And some of those guys can jump out of the gym. So I can't wait to see what they do. I know after we finish this, I'm going to watch the Texas game. But I'm excited to see. I think everybody needs to come back healthy. I think they're still waiting on a couple pieces to get 100%. But by conference play, we'll definitely know what type of team we have.
I think they're playing Incarnate Word. And I want to say, is it TJ Ford's son playing for Incarnate Word?
You know you're old when TJ Ford Jr. is in college.
Yes. Wow. Because, now Division I, there's so many basketball programs, but in this great state of Texas, there's a lot of great college basketball and a lot of D1 programs. So, it doesn't matter who they play. Anyone can really beat anyone on a given night, and I think you can attest to that. You've seen it firsthand many times.
Absolutely. Funny story is I actually had TJ Jr. at the restaurant 2 nights ago. And
did you?
It's going to be a special moment for TJ Sr. because, even though it's not the Irwin Center, it's, his dad kind of built the program. And you look up in the rafters, it's Slater Martin, it's TJ Ford, Kevin Durant. So really, really special moment for father-son to be playing, watching your son play in a building that you helped construct. And, it's not easy to get a scholarship in any sport. And it's really special that his son got one. And great family, great kid. And I can't wait to watch.
I can't either. Well, we'll run through this pretty quick. Hugh's predictions. A healthy RT Texas basketball team. Where do you see them by February?
I think they're going to be at the top of the Big 12. It's going to be a really competitive league, as it's always been. You have U of H in there now. But at the end of February, heading into March, I think they're going to be taking it a game at a time, but I won't be surprised if they're in Phoenix.
What's one player that was on those teams in which you were a student manager that either by injury or just bad luck or what may or may not have happened that you were disappointed that could have been something, but it's just either injuries or something like that deterred that from happening or prevented that from happening?
Actually, the 3 years I was there, we didn't have very many injuries. I think that's a credit to Todd Wright, the strength coach, and Fry, the athletic trainer. I don't recall any sort of injuries that occurred. What did happen was the NCAA didn't really do very many favors for my good friend Myck Kabongo. He was suspended for the whole year, but then, it got down to 20-something games. But that really hurts you and a team with the distraction and with compliance and things like that. But, Mike would have been a lot better if he could just focus on school and basketball. but that's just, it is what it is. And for us to have NIL now, we had to have guys like, Myck Kabongo to unfortunately be an example, because, he took a trip to Cleveland to go see his best friend, Tristan Thompson, and all they did was work out. All they did was basketball.
That's it.
And because his childhood friend paid for his flight and the story kind of got mixed up a little bit, he was ineligible. I mean,
I remember. Yeah.
Basketball that went to go play basketball. So I don't understand it, but hopefully now with NIL, we don't have any of that, because student athletes deserve to get paid. And even though that, to answer your question, that wasn't injury related, he did miss significant time, and I don't think that was too fair.
Looking back now, being a member of the media, we didn't have all the details. We didn't. I mean,
Right.
some reported it what they thought it was. Some of it was facts, but a lot of it, the true story never came out till afterwards. And looking back at it now, that was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he was a tremendous talent. He was from Canada, correct?
Yes, he's from Toronto, Canada, and we actually spent some time together not too long ago. We actually went back to see RT and had a couple of Drake concerts mixed in. So family and brother getting back together, and got to hang out with Katie, and being part of Texas basketball is a special brotherhood. And as you get older and you move apart and you have families, it's harder to get together. But that's my job, is to help bring the alumni together by being the guy that recruits and gets everybody and to show up back in Austin.
Lastly, being a San Antonio guy, you're black and silver through and through. Wemby, special talent. His stature is ridiculous. Just his ability. What's your prediction for this year, and what year do you think into his career as a Spur do you think the Spurs return to contending for championships?
Great question. I think we might be 2, maybe 3 years away. The reason I say that is not to, to talk about any person on the team, is just because they're so young.
Yeah.
Keldon, Devin Vassell is young. Trey Jones is young. Wemby, of course, is only 19. And so when you look at Tim Duncan, he didn't win his first ring until his second year, but he played 4 years at Wake Forest. And then if you look at David Robinson, he served in the Navy. So you need to mature. You need to get in the NBA weight room. You need to learn, not only get an NBA body in the weight room, but you also need to learn the weaknesses of all of your opponents, because when it's a 7-game series, they're going to take away option 1, option 2, option 3. So a lot of adjustments. So as you can tell, the Spurs have come back from 20 down and beat the Phoenix Suns, but a couple of days later, they lost a 22-point lead to the Toronto Raptors. Yeah. Just need to mature and figure each other out and trust the system and pound the rock. And we'll have another ring here really soon. I know we have a huge lead in the state of Texas, but we'll just keep building on it.
I like it. That's optimistic, but very realistic at the same time. And I just hope, for me being a Thunder guy, I think we're on our way. I don't know about championship, but I think we take another step. Maybe Western semis this year. That's a good potential.
I mean, you have Shea, who's playing outrageously. You have Lou Dort. You have Chet, who's playing great. And you have a couple young guys. And I think they have a really, really good front office there. Yeah. And a lot that buy in. So OKC is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think the Western Conference in general has always been strong, but there's 450 guys in the league, and they're all super talented. And hopefully, if you play well in TBT, you can earn one of those spots.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
You know, there's a lot of negativity in this world for some reason, but I think there's more positivity. If you're looking for it, you find it. And I see one little ounce of, a lot of ounces of positivity on that right side of your screen. Vincent Hu, tell me something good in your world that you'd like to pass along to the world of the viewers or listeners of Stories Inside the Man Cave.
Well, my daughter is healthy. Today's actually her 9-month, I guess,
Beautiful.
not birthday. She's 9 months old now, and she's been to a couple Spurs games and a couple Longhorn games, and she gets to see Texas football be good again. And so, 8-1, can't complain, run the table one game at a time. But if the people above us, knock each other out, then I see ourselves maybe in a playoff. But like I said, one game at a time, and take care of business against TCU and Texas Tech and Iowa State and maybe Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game. And then we'll let the committee decide. But family's good, restaurants staying busy, TBT's rolling, and Texas basketball starting, and Texas football's on a roll. So let's end the year strong.
Let's do it. I don't know what else to add to that except, I'm feeling the same. This is a great time of year because we have the crossover college basketball. Some teams started earlier this morning. They're playing a lot of mismatches, but still, college basketball is underway. And then, like Vincent said, here in Austin, Texas, college tackle football is great again. And like the old cliche, 1 week at a time.
Right.
Vince, hey, go support anybody who may be tied to a big corporation or even a local business. Jump on board TBT. And that's the main reason we're talking here, because he and I have been talking about this for quite a few months, and I'm excited about it. Can't wait to see the next edition. But honestly, it all happens through other people stepping in and helping. And Vince, that's what we hope we get out of this, and build up the excitement as well.
Thank you so much. It looks like we'll be in Houston. It's not set in stone, but it would be great. We'd love to have everybody in training camp, on the bench. Maybe we can have you draw some plays. But let's just have fun with it. Let's bring the brotherhood together, and let's win some games.
Let's win some games. Former Horns and of course, Longhorn for life himself, Vincent Hu. Man, we appreciate you. This will conclude episode 317. So for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Harge, Big Mike, and Coach Mo, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. I'm in my car.